Sparkle, you fucking star.
Hi, I'm Michaela.
I'm Tanya. We moved halfway across the world for the plot.
We can't afford therapy, so we decided to plaster our problems all over the internet.
Welcome to the shit show.
That was nice.
That was nice.
Episode 4.
What are we calling this one?
I've called it Berlin Babes.
Oh, I've called it First Impressions.
Okay.
Either way.
Well, it's all fun. So at a certain point every year, we get to a point where our visas run out. 12 months.
Yeah.
Last year it was, November when early November when we started thinking about it. Ish.
Yeah. I mean, it was always in the back of our minds because we are on a working holiday visa, which means you only have 12 months in the selected country to work and live, and then you can travel within the Schengen and come back for 12 months.
Yeah, and then you have the 3 months worth of like the 90-day Schengen visa before you have to go home or do what we've done and choose a new country to move to.
Yeah.
So it was late November. There are 3 of us in the expat files, and we sat down. I was the only one who was unemployed at that time, so I had plenty of time on my hands, and I put together a PowerPoint presentation with multiple different countries. I reckon I had 5 or 6 different
5 or
options.
6, yeah.
And within that, we were weighing up cost of living, cost of rent, minimum wage. So I had a look at all of them, major cities and pros and cons.
Yeah.
And the 3 of us sat down, had a sweet treat, and were presented.
Yes. We did dwindle down a lot of the countries easily because for most of the working holiday visas, you have to apply when you're in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So that limited our choices a lot, which we put into factor when choosing Berlin.
Yeah. What originally drew you to Germany? Because really it was Germany, not just Berlin. Yeah, okay, cool.
I had not thought of moving to Germany in my entire life.
No, neither.
When I came to visit it, it was fun, it was nice. I was never like, oh yeah, I want to live here. But here we are.
Surprise, surprise!
So for me, choosing Berlin was based purely on the cost of the visa, which was a lot cheaper than others. And the fact that we could apply for the visa once we were in Germany.
It was a logistical choice, realistically, because I hadn't even been to Germany before we stepped foot here with all of our stuff to move into an apartment.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, we both did our research, and out of all of the options, this was definitely probably favourable for me a lot because of the music and the art scene here. But again, like when we originally chose Germany, we didn't necessarily choose Berlin. It was like, okay, Germany, where has an apartment we can move to?
Yeah, and I think once we selected Germany, we were like, okay, this is a possibility, we can do this. We then had to look at the different towns and cities that would give us the best opportunities. Obviously, we don't know German, so that played a massive factor.
Obviously.
Speak for yourself.
So we had to dwindle it down to, again, major cities that we knew English was spoken of more than others.
As a general rule in Europe, major cities, you can get away with English, I would say.
Yeah.
But that's very generalized, I think.
What drew us to Berlin, because we were thinking about Hamburg and Cologne as well.
We were.
Hamburg was a bit by the beach, which I was like, I was trying to keep that kind of same The Hague vibe. But when it came down to it, it was the apartment, I think.
Yeah, we put ourselves in, I reckon I was in 7 or 8 different Facebook groups. So I generally manned that one because, again, you were working full time. So I put posts up and stuff, and you used to get so many scam messages. Yeah. So many scams being like, add me on this, pay the deposit before you look.
That's what you get when you are on the Facebook groups is scams. But if you're not on the Facebook groups, it's a lot harder because the agencies don't give you the time of day.
No, you need to have all of this paperwork and an income that's decent already before you even get to the country, which is near impossible. Luck of the draw, I had put up a post And I always attach a nice little picture of us because we look lovely gals.
Trustworthy.
Exactly. And put the whole spiel, and we're looking from this date to this date. And I remember getting a message. We were both walking on the treadmill at the gym. And this woman sent me her photos, and she was like, I have this place. It's available when you need it. All of this stuff, this is the area, which was Charlottenburg, which I mean, we didn't even know
We
the
didn't
areas.
know the areas.
at
we
all.
hadn't done research. So I remember doing a quick Google. I was
What
like,
did it say when you go?
I Googled it. I was like, Charlottenburg, like, what is this? And it was like, Charlottenburg, the epitome of luxury.
And her and I just fucking we're like, what do you mean?
And then we were like, well, they say to dress for the job you want, so we should live in the place we want and deserve.
Exactly.
Can't afford, but deserve.
No. We straight away were like, scam. This is such a scam. I was messaging her because, I mean, she was actually corresponding, which was nice. You don't always get that. And getting information. So first thing to kind of vet out all of the scammers is to organize a video call. So we organized a video call. And our landlord is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, she was awesome.
Yeah.
And we were still kind of, after we hung up that call and she was like, we'll put together a contract, we were both like, still got to be a scam.
And like, we have gone through so much rejection.
So much.
We were expecting this to turn around and get ugly.
Yeah. She had lowered her price because to fit our budget.
Yeah.
It was just unheard of.
It was too good to be true.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't, because we're sitting in her apartment right now.
What it came down to: visas, English,
Housing.
and housing.
And that was pretty much it.
That was it, yeah.
But the move was, I mean, I don't even remember that time packing up all of our stuff.
Yeah. It was chaos. It was chaos because we were originally meant to move out on the 26th of December, and we were like, yeah, that's so good. We'll have like New Year's in a new place. Not thinking logistically.
At all.
And then we were able to push it back a month. So, which was good because nothing was open over the Christmas period. So that was lucky. But because it was the Christmas period, I worked up until like a week before we had to leave.
Yeah.
So it was just chaos.
It was
absolute
chaos. And all I could think the whole time as I was putting things in boxes is like, who the fuck owns all of this stuff? Where did all of this stuff come from?
Yeah, considering like we came over with one suitcase each, the fact that we had to ship 5 boxes.
Plus our massive suitcases. And I threw out so much stuff.
I reckon we had about 3 bags that we threw out.
Yeah.
For wrap.
And I think that the biggest thing we learned from that is we had to cart all of our shit up those stairs, which we have to get up 6 flights of stairs to get to our apartment, was that we are not purchasing anything anymore unless we throw something out, because it was just, it was horrendous.
It was bad. Yeah.
We shipped our boxes. We ended up having to get an Uber just to take our boxes from our house to the post office because we couldn't carry it.
And they were wrapped up in, I don't think it was packing tape so much. It was just sticky tape.
Yeah.
And
I found the boxes on the side of the road on recycling day. Like, we were...
I'm pretty sure one had like soy sauce down the side.
We were frugal ladies and we did what we did. I just can't justify buying a cardboard box.
Yeah, I know.
It just doesn't make sense to me. So I was on a walk to the supermarket one morning and it was recycling day, and I remember Snapchatting you and I was like, oh my God, there's so many boxes. And so I just grabbed as many as I could carry, walked down the street, and you got home and you were like, there's like soy sauce dripped out the side of this one and that's broken.
But it did the job.
We made it work. We made it work.
Everything
Exactly.
came.
So we shipped those ones off. I think it was the day before we left. 2 days.
That's 2 days.
Yeah.
Maybe. And the funny thing was, everything that I was packing in the boxes, I was prepared to part with. I was like, if it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it.
Yeah, that was the criteria.
Yeah, all of my valuables that I needed came with me.
in the suitcase. Yeah.
Yep.
We booked those flights. They were last minute flights too. We waited.
Yeah, we waited.
Yeah.
It was about a couple of weeks out.
Yeah. And then boarded the flight. And literally, like I said, first time I ever touched down in Germany, I had all of my belongings with me ready to move there. So if it didn't work out,
too bad.
tough tits.
First impressions of the city. So obviously we chose to fly because we knew, even though the train ride isn't too bad, was it like 5-6 hours?
5.5 hours.
Yeah, we knew that because we were so exhausted from packing the past couple of days, we didn't want to have to haul massive suitcases to a platform and catch a train and have to watch your bags and then get off the train and then find another platform.
And financially, it wasn't that far different.
It wasn't that much difference, no.
An hour and a half flight compared to 5 hours on a train, which was a Sunday.
Yeah,
because everything was closed
shut on a Sunday.
Yeah, so like everything. We arrived with just clothes and stuff. Cafes are open, supermarkets are shut. There's no, and I was like, oh, but we're in the city. I'll look up the trading hours and everything's shut.
Everything's shut.
Yeah. Immediately
Immediately touching down into like the area, I was like, okay, it's different. It's a city. And if you've been to The Hague, yes, it's classified as a city and yes, it's big, but it's nothing.
It's adorable.
Compared to this.
No, it's like The Hague is a picturesque, like everything's so historical and beautifully taken care of. And, you know, the streets are always clean and, you know, it's like a picture book. And when we first got to, it was the train station for me because airport's an airport. I mean, actually the train even.
Yeah, even
I
the
was
train
like,
different.
oh, it smells slightly of piss in here. This is bizarre.
Yeah.
If you're listening from Melbourne, it was like going from a really well taken care of V line to a metro. Like in a city metro at 3 a.m.
Just remember being shocked by the size of it.
Oh, it was
and
huge.
it's not like we haven't seen big cities, but we were just so used to our Hague that we forgot how overwhelming a city can be.
Little cobblestone streets, everyone's on bikes, there's barely any cars compared to like a city. Like everything was just big.
It was very Melbourne-esque.
It was very
And I could
Melbourne-esque.
understand because when I had asked people what's Berlin like, they're like, oh yeah, it's kind of like Melbourne. I understand it
100%. There's so many similarities except for the language. But
Yeah.
if you closed your ears and just walked around, you could be in Melbourne some places.
Yeah, you could be.
I had a very aha moment because I saw the area that we're in, the parking areas are 11, and so there were 11s all over the streets. So I was like, oh, it's a sign. And then we walked past that aviation store, and I was like, this is it's finally Michaela's coming up. It's finally Michaela's time to shine.
I do remember that we were walking and like there was just all these little things. I was like, okay, this is good. This is a good sign.
Fucking delusion.
Yep.
But I mean, it's not bad. But arriving in the apartment itself and being like, holy shit, like it's real.
The building.
Oh,
when I saw the building, I was like,
beautiful.
this is magnificent. And then when we went into the building, and then you go through to the courtyard to get to our building, I'm like, oh my god, this is everything I've ever dreamed of.
Yeah. And then you hit the stairs and you're like,
and
fucker.
then I hit the stairs. I was like, damn it.
I remember feeling such a sense of whiplash though.
Yeah.
Like we
tired.
sat down, and I was like, what just happened? It was chaos.
Stepping into the apartment, it was also a sense of like relief because the past week had been so stressful. And I was just so exhausted. And it's funny, I look back at videos and photos that I took from like the day before and the day of us flying, and we just look wrecked.
Oh my God.
Like
exhausted. Because there's so many moving parts. Like not only are you moving house, you're moving countries. And yes, it's closer and all of that stuff. Like, but it's a whole different scene.
Yeah.
Like you're not just moving down the road or even interstate. Like this is an international move still.
Yeah.
Chaos.
And we got dinner and fell asleep.
Yeah, we had pho. I remember seeing the pho sign and it was like, girls just want to have pho. And I was like, I don't want to think, but the girls do. They do. But I remember also the attendant speaking to me in German. And then I was like, oh, sorry, I only speak English. And the little difference was that he looked not uncomfortable, but it was a different vibe. Like, oh, I don't actually know how to fully communicate with you. What you're going to have to point at stuff. Whereas the Netherlands already, they're like sick.
Yeah.
Speak in
and
English.
they switch. Yeah. Everyone in the Netherlands it's like their second language, and they easily switch between the two.
Yeah.
Like when we were there, like I would listen to conversations of people, and they would switch from English to Dutch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just normal. Whereas here, I have noticed every time I go in somewhere, you do get those people that don't want to converse to you in English. And they can understand you, but they'll reply in German.
I've found that, especially the last couple of weeks, I have been pushing things out for music and stuff, and people are messaging me in German, I'm translating and then replying in English to kind of be like, I only speak English, I'm from Australia, and they still reply in German. So you're having to translate things. Unexpected costs. I wrote this down. I mean, moving's going to have them.
Yep.
Was there anything that you were like, I'm throwing money at this?
Not really. I think the boxes were a cost which I had thought about, but not to the extent.
Yeah.
I thought about shipping them. I didn't think about having to pack everything and the different weights and just all those little things and like insurance for them and stuff. Which I think we didn't end up getting in the end.
No,
did we?
we were like,
No,
if
we
they're
were
gone,
like,
they're
yeah,
gone.
It's gone. I think we were better prepared this time
Yes,
around.
exactly. We knew the deposit, already had paid the deposit. Like we knew what was coming for everything. So it didn't feel as scary maybe.
Yeah, and this apartment was very well accommodated compared to the last one.
So we'd moved in. We didn't really explore the city for like a week.
I remember that initial week was a bit of chaos because we knew we had to start the visa process.
Yeah.
So I think it was the next day we literally went to the council to register, because when you do get to Germany, before you can even book the appointment for the visa, you need to show that you're registered at an apartment, at an address.
Yeah.
And that you have somewhere to live. So I think we did that the next day, didn't we?
We did, because they had said that you had to make an appointment for that. But we also read online that you could just show up.
So we just showed up.
So we showed up, which was, I mean, that worked out really well. The person that we spoke to let us straight in. We both had appointments within the next half hour. I got rejected.
Yes.
And you got accepted.
I got accepted. They liked me.
Yeah, for the exact same address.
So
And
I was ready to be like, woohoo, let's go.
my attendant didn't speak English to
Yes.
start off with, so I was already sweating. Because
That's the thing with the appointments. Some of them can be very strict that if you don't speak if you don't speak German, they're not going to like you.
No.
Very hard to argue when you can't.
You don't really know what you're even asking for. I mean, but I was like, okay. So I took my shit. I went back, had like tail between my legs, thinking that Tanya would be the same. And I was like, sad. And she was like, yay! The fuck do you mean? So from there, I was like, we messaged our landlord because there was an issue with that. And she said to try a different office.
Yeah,
so
just try again. It's the bureaucracy here.
It is. Which, funnily enough, we walked halfway across the city to a different office.
Yep.
They sent us halfway across to the city, back to the first one that we went to. I had a different attendant, and it was signed off, and everything was fine. And it was just luck of the draw. I remember sitting there looking at the numbers being called, and I was like, if it's this one, we have to go. I can't go back to the same lady and ask for the same thing.
Yeah.
But I just got lucky.
Yep.
Stamped.
No
worries.
Yep. So then we were able to get our visa appointment.
Which I had
in 2 months.
Yeah. Delusionally, I was like, right, we're going to arrive. We're going to rock up at the door. We're going to get the registration, which we did. And then the next day, we're going to go in and get our visa, and I can start working immediately.
Yeah.
Idiot.
You needed the registration that you lived here.
Health insurance,
bank statements.
The visa forms themselves
Visa
filled
forms,
out.
your passport.
Your passport photos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spare passport photos. Scanned it all and then sent it to make an appointment. Just the appointment.
Just to make the appointment, which they gave us both a date at the same time in 2 months' time.
Yeah. Which was lucky because if we had left to leave the Netherlands at the end of our visa there, like, because I had mine till March, so I had a bit of a buffer. You had yours till like June.
Yeah.
So if we hadn't, we would have been very close because we would have been on the Schengen visa, which is only 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we would have been cutting it fine.
Yeah. And not to mention pushback with work and things like that, like the application process. I think it all worked out serendipitously without meaning it, because you were then going home.
Yeah.
So you were here for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, two, 3.
and a bit?
Yeah, it would have been like 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then you went home and left me here all by myself.
Yes. Luckily, the appointment, because we sent off the paperwork for the appointment and then they email you back with an appointment date. They emailed us back and our appointment date was the day after I landed back in Germany from Australia.
And that is it's not something you want to fuck with. Like, you're not going to email them back and be like, actually, can we have like the day after?
Work for me?
Yeah, you kind of are. at mercy of
Yeah.
the government
'Cause
here.
they could have come back and been like, all right, wait another 2 months.
Literally, it's as a general rule, they say to allow 2 to 3 months before your appointment.
Yeah. 'Cause in my mind, you could rock up, go get it done on the same day. I thought this was going to be like a 2-3 day process.
And I think pre-COVID it was.
Yeah.
Like I had spoken to people back in Australia when I was still living there, and they were like, just rock up at 4 a.m. You might be there all day, but you'll get an appointment and then you get it on the same day. And I was like, amazing. And
Yep.
it's probably lucky because we decided to line up for the registration appointment. And then in my head, I was like, let's line up and just go and we'll get it on the day.
Yep.
But it just doesn't work like that
because
anymore.
when we did go, they were checking appointments before
Yeah.
they even let you enter the building.
Yeah. The
There was-
premises, really.
yeah,
Yeah. It
the
was.
premises, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was lucky.
It was.
But I do remember on that day when we were walking around to those areas, we did get to see a lot of where we lived.
We did.
And where we live is just a small pocket of Berlin. Berlin is massive and it has lots of different districts and neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So where we are, we're still about 20 minutes, 30 minutes from
Yeah.
the like center of Berlin
Yeah.
onto the train.
Which apparently there are 2 centers. I haven't visited the second one, but apparently where we go to Alexanderplatz is one center, and
Yep.
then there's another one as well. So maybe we should go and explore. Comparatively to the Netherlands, I could jump on a train in The Hague and be at like Nathan's,
Yep.
which is Amsterdam, in an hour, and you're in a completely different city. Whereas
Yeah.
Berlin, you get on a train for an hour and you're still in
You're on the
Berlin.
other side of
Yeah.
Berlin.
It's wild.
It is. Again, there's little different areas within our area.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so unique about Berlin is that there's so many different pockets of it, which is why I think so many people come here because you can find your little pocket that you kind of sit in.
Exactly.
The day after, when we went for that run
Oh, to the palace.
to the palace, yeah, that was probably like one of my favorite first memories of Berlin.
Yeah.
Was that run. I didn't tell you we were going to go to the palace.
No. Tanya's
Like,
a
just keep
runner
running.
and I am not. So I'm just like, don't tell me how far we're going. Just don't stop if I stop,
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, I remember all of a sudden we just popped out into these beautiful gardens
Yeah.
and there was this incredible palace. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
It was nice. Coming here, I was like, it's so big. I don't know how to get a hold of this. And because we had never been here, it was intimidating.
Yeah.
But I think just getting to know your small area first,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, okay, I've got this down.
Yeah.
And then like we can kind of creep out and explore more areas.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that there's good ways that we have immersed ourselves in different areas. Like
Yep.
we have a look and we'll see an event somewhere. So we catch a train to that area and then we're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a new place that we can go and explore.
But it is very disorientating coming to a new area.
Definitely.
A new place because
Yeah.
you don't know where all your favorite things are. We didn't even know where we were going to go grocery shopping.
No.
It made me think there's always, I don't know if you've heard of that quote from Mel Robinson, but she's like, everyone in their 20s should go live somewhere else.
Yep.
Like pack your bags, move. And I think that's so important. I was thinking about that because it makes you so self-sufficient
Absolutely.
and independent
Yeah.
because you do throw yourself in the deep end, and to come as far as we have from Australia, you've lost all your support systems.
all of them.
You've lost all your safety nets, all your familiarity, and you're kind of just thrown in the deep end and you have to survive.
You have to.
You've got to pay your bills. You've got to find somewhere to live. You can't be on the street. You've got to feed yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to go to the doctors in somewhere completely different. And it forces you to be solely independent and rely on yourself
For
to
sure.
get through.
To get through
next
it.
day.
Like the smallest of tasks become such a challenge. Like
So important too, because you don't get stuck in your hometown
yeah.
and the way of thinking. And I think that's so important because you do go and get to see a different way of life and a different way of justifying why things are done a certain way. It's not like you're in one place and you're like, this is how do you do this because this is how we do it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you take yourself out of that and see, oh, okay, they do it this way or they do it that way, and you get to kind of form your own unique way of living.
Absolutely. And you go in with an open mind. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's not the way you want to do it, but it's how they do it, and I'm living here at the moment.
Yeah, so
and
I'll do it.
Yeah. I've seen people come like who are traveling and they are so stuck in that small town or like their home life mentality
Yeah.
that they're just like, well, I live like this, so why are you people doing it like
Yeah.
this? And you're like, yeah, but you're actually on someone else's home soil now. So
Yes.
you have to kind of at least appease and go in with an open mind
Yeah.
and be like, oh, okay, that's cool. You can't judge from that.
And I think when you do have an open mind, you get to take so much more away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you didn't, you would be stuck with that way of living, and your mindset is so closed off. You would almost be letting your ignorance, I don't know how to put it, but kind of like limiting your brain a little bit. Don't let your ignorance be your downfall.
No, and I think that there is such a power in just being curious.
Yeah.
Like it's so comfortable where you've grown up and in the same language, in the same like everything, that if you're not curious, then of course you're going to stay.
It's so much better to have an open mind and learn new things than being closed off and thinking you're right. You're not going to grow. You're not going to expand. You're not going to find better ways of doing things if you're so closed off.
Yeah.
And my way's the right way.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that kind of way is for some people, like they don't move away and they don't want to. And that,
I think it's being that uncomfortable and not having your familiarity around you,
sure.
that you do feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's what scares people.
And I think on that though, it is important if you are going to take a plunge like this to have certain things that is your comfort that you can
Yes.
come back to. So whether
What was yours?
my nightly yogurt.
I was thinking on a bigger scale. Like my parents still live in their house, so I can
Go home.
retreat.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I mean, my nightly yogurt's a really big one for me.
How is yogurt going to save you?
Okay, let me explain this. And okay, trying to explain my nightly yogi. I call it yogi to everyone, right?
Yogurt's not going to bail you out.
No, but it's my mental thing.
Yeah.
So no matter how hard a day is, and there
Yeah.
have been some difficult days since we've been living here, yogurt's a pretty universal product
Yeah.
for the most part. You can get some berries. Berries are everywhere.
Yep.
At the end of every day, I know that there is something that I have. It's something I do every single
It's a
day.
familiarity.
It's
Yep.
familiar. So
Try and build a routine that's similar to what you have. You can then kind of adapt.
for sure. And
Yeah.
obviously being open, like I am an extremely rigid person. So probably one of the biggest like growth moments that I've had to have in the last 2 years is the fact that you can make plans. They will most likely have to be changed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So nearly 3 months.
Yeah.
Come
That's
up 3
actually
months.
not that bad. I
I
feel
know.
like I've been here forever.
So we haven't been here that long,
No.
but we have been here 3 months.
Yes.
So compared to your first impressions of Berlin when we arrived, what is your impression of Berlin now? If you were to personify Berlin as a person,
I think that Berlin for me is one of those chaotic friends that kind of keeps giving you information.
yeah,
Like you see them every now and then and they're great. They're a good time for the most part.
yeah,
But like they'll just come out with these comments and you're like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
they're like that kind of person that you catch up with like maybe once a month,
Yeah.
and like 10 years has like gone by in there.
Yeah. And I mean, they obviously keep going back once a month because they're
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And they have a lot to give and they're exciting, but they're a little bit frantic sometimes.
Yes. I read this because I got this idea of this chick on TikTok, and she was like, it's like being in a toxic relationship.
Oh my God, it's true.
It's like,
It's true.
it's like this moody, like mysterious man, but he keeps giving you these bursts of beautifulness
Yeah.
and this kind of like draw that like sucks you in,
Yeah.
where you know, okay, it's probably not the best choice,
But I'm
but there's so much
interested.
freedom, and
Yeah.
like he's so carefree, he doesn't give a shit.
I don't think he means to be toxic. He just
It's just
kinda
who he is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
It's kind of, yeah. So we're in a toxic relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like our experiences have been very different. And again,
Yes. Because it's full of creative people, which
absolutely
is definitely your...
my thing.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of weeks there where I was here by myself because you were home.
Yeah.
Tanya left, and I remember waking up on that first day, and the floorboards in our apartment are usually very loud.
Oh, so loud.
And I woke up in the morning and I was like, silence. Radio motherfucking silence.
Yeah.
It was quiet, and I was like, okay, so we've got two options here. We can either A, not leave this apartment and accept to go to the grocery store and just spend 3.5 weeks writing music by yourself, or B, try and establish yourself a little bit and get out of the fucking house. So I set myself a challenge. I had 3 non-negotiables every day because I needed that. Otherwise I would have stayed in the apartment. And the first one was social contact of some form. So whether that's even just going through like the person checkout at the supermarket instead of self-checkout, even if it was that small, that's fine. Second one was to be creative every day. So write music, do whatever. The third one was to try and see a new place or go for a different walking route. Because I go for a walk every day. And it's very easy for me to find my routes, and that's it. So every day I woke up with those. They were my intentions. That was it. And I did really well, I think.
And I think it was hard because before I left, we'd only been here like 3 weeks.
Yeah. So we
didn't know many people.
Anyone or anything. We went to one place where I met a couple of people.
Yeah.
And that was it. But I think the biggest game changer, and if you're moving to a new city, my biggest advice is to look on Facebook and look for group meetups. Yeah. Because generally there are expats wherever you are, and expats are lonely. So they want to hang out.
They want to make friends.
Exactly.
And it's easier to make friends with expats
because you're all going through a similar,
you're going through the same thing.
Experience, for sure. So I found this group, and it was like an artist meetup. There was one Saturday night that I went to the artist meetup, and I met the most amazing people. I mean, they were really cool. They were all expats except a few. And from there, I, exchanged numbers and got some coffee dates and whatever. And it just led to opportunities that I never thought would come about. Like my music video was shown at the oldest cinema in Berlin. No, in Germany.
Yes.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Because the creative community is so strong here, I'm kind of in my element. It's really nice to be able to wander around, and I can talk shit with musicians for days. Even if I don't know what they're saying.
I know. Sometimes I sit there because I'm creative to a point, but I'm not invested in it.
Sure.
And sometimes when I do sit with your creative group, my mind just wanders.
Yeah.
And I'm fair. And they're in a spiral. I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
Did you have, because I remember so the first time I ever lived overseas was to England. Mm. And it was that first night when I arrived there, and I remember this vividly. I was sitting on the edge of my bed. It was freezing cold, and it was this sheer drop in my stomach of just panic that I'm here by myself. If something goes wrong, people are so far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when I left you alone, that was probably the first time you were alone.
Yeah.
And yes, you had people that weren't too far away.
Yeah.
But you were still in a foreign place. Did you ever have that moment of fuck?
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't just the first day. If something I broke the vacuum cleaner, and I was like, well, no one else is going to fix it. You've got to fix it. You can't just call Tan and be like, hey, help me. For sure. It's for me, because my brain is so busy, it's the silence.
Yeah, the silence is eerie.
And there's, a lot. We're talking about years worth of stuff that can come back up when it's quiet. But it is that if I all of a sudden something medical happens, I don't have anyone to call. The closest person to me is 5.5 hours on a train away. And as much as they're call me when you're walking home late at night, what are you going to do? And my mum's the same, because the time works out. There were a few open mics that I went to by myself, and I'd be walking home in dodgy areas at 11 p.m. and mum would be like, call me.
What are you going to do?
Are you going to get on a 30-hour flight and save me? I'm already gone. I'm dead by then, Mum. Thank you, but...
We don't even know the emergency number. How is she
Oh my God, I still don't know the emergency number.
We need to learn it.
I know, we should write it down somewhere.
I know. But yeah, it is that kind of okay, well... And that's, again, it's that forcing that independence, to be solely self-sufficient.
It's both. I found it both shit scary, but
Yeah.
also so liberating. 'Cause
Yeah. Coming to a new city where you don't know anyone or anything, or it's that ability to literally invent a whole new identity too.
100%.
It's not just how do I want my day to be, it's how do I want to live my
who
life.
do I want to be?
Who do I want to be?
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure. And that's the mentality I took into meeting, like going to these meetups or
Yep.
going to these performances or whatever. I don't have to be like the scared little whatever. I'm not working
Yeah.
in a duo. I'm rocking up.
They have
by
no
myself.
idea.
They have no idea. The way that I really forced myself out was to book in events, book tickets, do things, but then also like it would always get 2 to 3 hours before I had to leave, and I didn't want to go anymore. So I had to kind of sit there and be like, why? Like, why do you actually not want to go? What's really stopping you? You can't be bothered. You'll get over it. It was always walking into a room alone
Yeah.
and sitting down. That's the initial thing that for me in a group of people, I don't know why, but that it makes me feel like they're going to be like, she's here all by herself.
Vulnerability.
Absolutely. Choosing your chair. What if the room's
Yeah.
already full? Like, it's a silly thing. Like
Yeah.
the performance part or the talking to people part, not so bad. It's the initial people being like, she's alone.
Yeah.
It's scary. But you have to do it.
You have to do it. And they don't know anything about you.
No.
They only know what you're going to tell them.
Yeah. Your friend
So you could literally go up there and be like, yes, I'm a secret agent.
literally. Oh, shit. I shouldn't have said that. No,
Yeah.
they're not going to know.
It's confidential.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Yeah,
Or
you could
you
say
don't talk at
anything.
all. You just be
Yeah.
mysterious and you sing and then you leave. Which is the way I like to do it.
Yeah, because your songs are so mysterious.
Oh, they're so, I know, fucking heart on sleeve. But the other thing I think with that is that you can go, and so you've done the hard part of going. If you hate it, fucking leave.
Yeah.
Like, no one's holding you there. You can go for an hour and be like, not a vibe. Go for 15 fucking minutes, which I
Yeah,
did
and
once.
just leave.
And just leave.
Because they don't know you. So you're just like-
Exactly. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be offended.
I mean, the Dutch people and the German people, they're similar.
Yeah.
They're very standoffish. They're very
Direct.
direct. They're very closed off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think tying in with that, it's the friendliness that I miss. So just holding a door open for someone or smiling as you walk past them, it's not a thing here.
Wrote down the honking when they're driving.
Oh, the cars.
I don't understand what it
The
is.
road rage.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, I guess the Netherlands don't have many cars, period. But yeah, every time we're out, there's
Yeah. Even if like someone's just waiting to go into a car spot because someone's backing out, if there's someone behind them, they're honking.
every
Like,
time.
what are you doing?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's like just patience.
Just wait.
Yeah. One thing I do love is the Sundays.
I love that.
I love that everything's closed
Yeah.
and you just see everyone out going for a walk or going for a
For
coffee.
a coffee, yeah. It's when we first arrived, I was like, but meal prep happens
Yeah.
on Sundays. What are we gonna do? But it happens on Monday instead
Yeah,
now.
it's
And
fine.
I've now started doing what I'm calling soft girl Sundays
Yeah.
because everything's shut. So you wake up, it's my rest day from the gym. We go and do our planning day, and
Yep.
then after that, the afternoon is yours.
Yeah,
No one
it's
else is
just
doing
relaxing.
anything, so you don't have to.
It takes away the Sunday scaries
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you go into the week ready,
Yeah.
kind of relaxed.
because it's forced.
It's forced, yeah.
Unless you're gonna go for coffee. But,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
all you can do.
Yeah. What do you hope that Berlin will show you in the next little while? And don't say employment. I'm talking about
Employment.
just like for you, because obviously I've spoken a lot about my artist community and all that stuff, and it's been amazing. What would you hope for?
I think just to meet some more people. The Netherlands, yes, it was hard to make friends, but I did make some really good friends through work. So I'm hoping to find that again. Someone said there's always something going on in Berlin.
There is.
There's lots of people say that. It's always really busy. So I'm hoping summer brings
Yeah.
more activities.
I think also though on that, because again musically there's gigs I've invited
Yeah.
people out and all of that stuff, and already my show's not for 3 weeks and people like I'm already booked in a different concert. There is a lot, but it's finding the quality things that's going on. Like
That's the thing. Everyone's a novice here.
yeah.
So everyone's trying to build up who they want to be.
yeah.
So it is, sometimes you will go to a few, and we've been to a few events now
yeah, I'm gonna talk
where
about
it's
it later.
like, this isn't worth 15 euros.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Also, a lot of things are free here or donation based.
Yeah.
So we
Which
look
is
at
good.
that and we're like, amazing, it's free. Or it's, I only have €5, so that's what I'll donate.
Yeah. No criteria.
Correct. There's no
so anyone can
bar.
get up there. Warmth. That's what I'm thinking when I think of what I want from Berlin. Not only from the weather, but an acceptance.
Yes. And not just for what I have to give, but just for me as a person.
Yeah.
Because like I've noticed, like I've met lots of people around me and people have given me all these incredible opportunities, but there's never like a, hey, how are you? It's just like a, oh, Michaela, there's this singing thing. You're an incredible singer. Come do this. It's not like a, hey, Michaela, how's your week going?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of posts and people talking about Berlin being a disconnected city.
Yeah.
Because there is such a turnover in people.
Yes.
And it's a young city too.
It is.
It's full of people trying to find their identity, freedom, creativity. So there's, I think, a lot of turnover.
And I think that it's a little more cutthroat than it puts out.
So it's hard to create roots and connections and friendships when there's people are always on the move, on the go, doing this, doing that, moving here, moving there.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I've met people who have been here for 15, 20 years and I've met people like us who have been here for months.
It's funny. And they're always like, I love Berlin, but I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, that toxic relationship.
It is. Exactly.
What else are you hoping for Berlin?
I forgot what I started to say. I'm hopeful that my opportunities continue to grow.
Yeah.
But I think that that's not necessarily hoping for Berlin. That's me having to take the initiative to do things. What I hope for is that Berlin gives me the opportunity to cut through.
Yes.
That's kind of my hope.
I remember you saying, because you have already met a lot of connections here with all the opportunities, and you said they were so welcoming and helping and wanting to give you that leg up.
Yes. And I think maybe there's part of me that, coming from the Australian music scene, there's part of me that either A, doesn't believe it, or wonders where that is coming, like what's your motive kind of thing, because the Australian music industry is very tall poppy. Anyone who's good at what they do gets completely shunned down in the small scale, whereas when people are coming up to you and offering you opportunities and all of this stuff and not asking for anything in return, I'm like, but when will you ask for something in return? Like, what's the go here?
Yeah. And on that, I think when you get a compliment here, you're more taken aback and appreciative of it because you know they're being truthful.
Yes.
They're not just being like, oh yeah, it was good. Like they will come up to you and be like, that was actually good.
Yeah.
And they mean it because they're so direct and so like truthful.
I made a friend here who he's great. He's very German. Like I was explaining, I met him for coffee once and he gave me some help with the bureaucracy and stuff here, which was fantastic. And I had this show a couple of weeks later that I invited him along to because I didn't know many people. Anyway, he had never really spoken about my music at all until that night. I got off stage after playing my set and he was like, Michaela, I'm not going to lie, I thought you weren't going to be very good. You're incredible. And I was like, thank you.
And it's not just flattery. It's like, okay, yeah, he's
no, if he thought I was shit, he straight up just wouldn't. But now, like, since then, he's the one who showed my film and he's like, and they're excited about you being good at what you do.
Yeah. All right. Getting uncomfortable. I have a confession. I didn't do anything uncomfortable.
Well, that will change for next week.
I didn't feel like being uncomfortable this week. All right.
It's fair. I feel like at the moment where we're at, life is uncomfortable and that's enough.
Yeah, I think I was overwhelmed with stress this week. So that was my uncomfortable thing.
Yeah. And when I am overwhelmed with stress, I like to add things to my plate. So
distract.
Exactly. My uncomfortable thing this week, and this kind of ties into a little bit of what the Berlin art community is like. So we decided to go out one night. Yes. Tanya saw a show to a comedy show, an expat themed comedy show. So we went in there. Comedy wasn't great.
No. It was expat comics, not comedy about expats,
which we were like, we were like, we can laugh at ourselves.
We wanted to laugh at the pain we were going through.
Sure. Let's get a little bit lit.
Venue. What was it called?
Art City People, Berlin.
And it's in like this little courtyard.
Yes.
Which is stunning.
It was in the area of Mitte.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. We had a spritz. I went to order our second spritz and the bartender was like, do a shot with me. About this brown liquor. And I was like, righto, let's do it. You saw me knock it back. I
Yeah.
took our spritzers to the chair. Midway through that set, there was like 2 sets. I
Yeah.
started to feel horrible. Like I was
Yeah.
ill. I was about 2 minutes away from having to leave because I'm like, I'm going to faint or vomit or both. And it's
Yeah.
not going to be nice. Anyway, we took a break, went out. I gave you my spritz because I
Yeah.
couldn't finish it. Came back in and the bartender brings 2 shots over to us and is like, here, free shots.
And what did we do?
We are not in the position to turn down free anything.
Yes.
So we were like, sure. Anyway, shot it back. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I put the shot glasses back on the bar,
Yep.
came and sat down. He bought 2 more.
I think he saw that as that was delicious.
It was, I don't know what this shit was, but it was fucking like,
And
it was rocket
all
fuel.
All that training of being a girl, being like, don't take free shit. If you don't know what it is, do not drink it.
But anyway, you bought out the second one. I looked at you and I was like, I don't think that I can do this. And you were like,
even I was sitting there like, I don't think I can
yeah.
do this.
So we did it, classic. I got up the next morning feeling like absolute rat shit. But out of that whole experience, as I was sitting there fucking drunk as a skunk watching these people on stage, I started counting the people in the room and I was like, this is a small room.
It was like a little cafe almost.
Yeah. And I was like, there are about 30 people here. And I know that they all paid €15 per head to sit here and watch not very good comedy. And so I was.
You did all that math well.
Well,
Like 3
this
shots
is what
deep.
happens when I was drunk, and I used my calculator to figure out how they made a decent amount of money
Decent
that
amount of
night.
money,
Yeah. And so I was like, I left there. And I remember saying to you, I was like, I could sell out this place, and you were like, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's do this. Like created this whole plan about what I wanted the event to look like, and I have a single coming out May 9th, which if you're listening to this, go listen to it soon. Yeah, and so I was like, cool, it's going to be this idea where everyone, and it's going to be expat themed in the way that I want to create a community here.
Yes.
So I want people to come here who don't know anyone. We can all sit down. Yes, I'll be playing my music, but also like between times, I want to ask questions. I want to get to know the audience. But I'll walk in and this same motherfucking bartender's there. And I walked in, I don't know where this confidence came
So it's
from.
a good thing we took the shots. We weren't rude and declining.
Exactly. I walked in and straight away, like at the top of my lungs pretty much, I was like, I have a bone to pick with you. And he was like, would you still have a bone to pick with me if you knew that I was the guy you're meeting about your show? And I was like, yeah, I would actually. I really would. And so we sat down and I kind of pitched what I wanted to do. And straight up, he was just like, let's do it. And I was
Taking that initial leap.
yes.
Yeah.
So that was my uncomfortable thing. It was a long-winded, but you know I like to paint the picture.
All right. Well, that only leaves the last segment.
Yeah.
Unhinged questions.
I haven't done very well this week.
Questions that shouldn't necessarily be asked, but we're going to ask them anyway. Okay. So, knowing what you know now, what would you have told yourself before leaving the Netherlands?
Be patient.
Okay.
Don't expect just because you've like things haven't, learn from your experience because things haven't gone your way doesn't mean that you're going to move to a new country and it's going to start going your way.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think just relax because we did come in here so headstrong and wanting to go.
Yeah.
I think I would have told myself, just take a breath.
Yeah.
You're going to burn out.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. I don't know.
Now we're going to keep this PG, all right?
Okay. Sounds fun.
What's the craziest thing you've done while being alone in the apartment?
PG? Oh, the whole idea of being able to walk around naked is fucking great. There was a whole afternoon where I done all the things I had to do, had a shower and didn't get dressed.
Yep.
And was like looking at pajamas and
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to do that today.
That is the most liberating
Oh,
thing.
it's so good. The only problem is there are fucking windows everywhere.
And no curtains.
No curtains. But also, after my uncomfortable thing in the first episode, I'm quite okay being naked.
You shouldn't be okay because people pay to see that now.
It's true. It's true. It is skeptical. It's
Yeah.
skeptical.
That's a good one. Walking around naked, yeah.
Yeah.
Even like some mornings when I wake up, because I might cut this. Some mornings, because when I go to bed, I only sleep with the top on. I can't sleep with pants.
Sure, fair.
And when I wake up in the morning, I get up like to make a coffee and then I go back into bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a split second in my mind. I'm like, I just don't want to put my pants on to go out into
What
the
the
kitchen.
fuck? Okay, I'm gonna set the record straight here. You could do that because I hear you in the kitchen and I'm like, I don't want to get in the way. So if I hear you and I can hear every fucking step you take in here. So if I hear you get up, I'm not gonna get up. It's too it's too early for fucking social. I don't want to talk to you. You don't want to talk to me. So just walk out with no pants on. I don't care.
Pant-free mornings.
Yeah, it's fine. Welcome. See, you could only hope that Berlin gave you one thing, and that is it, baby. It is fine. Okay. Knowing that I am, like, there is a good community for me here, are you ever worried that I'm going to have a really good time and you're not?
No, because I want everything that you're getting here.
Okay.
You know, this is such an awesome place for you musically and creatively, where I would rather push you out than hold you back.
Oh, I'm going to cry. That's so nice. Watch the girl fly. Yeah.
My strength is going to come when that sun starts shining
Yeah.
and the spritzers are flowing.
Yeah.
Then I will find my people.
Yeah. For sure. Have you ever had a moment where you've regretted Berlin?
There was that day when we had to get our tax file number. And we went up to the lady and we were like, we only speak English. And she just looked at us and was like, no.
Yeah.
It was at that moment where I was like, fuck you, Berlin.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I remember turning away and being like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And you were the one that pushed and we ended up getting it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big of a deal.
Interesting.
What about you? Have you had any moments where you're like, fuck you?
Honestly, before you left, not like, I think that time that I had by myself was really good because it was the first time that I had been alone for a really long time. I don't cope well with the cold.
Yeah.
And when we got here, it was not just like cold. It was like negative
bone-chilling.
7 degrees when I was trying to get to the gym. And I was like, this is shit. And there was a few mornings where I was walking to the gym and I was like,
why aren't we living in Spain?
literally, I was like, maybe we didn't assess this PowerPoint presentation very well, and maybe we fucked up because it's the other thing of being like, we're in charge.
Yeah.
Like we made this choice.
Yeah, you can't be upset with the choice you've made.
No. Oh God.
Next time we're putting average weather temperatures on the
Yeah,
PowerPoint
that's an
presentation.
important part of the PowerPoint presentation, I think.
It's such a busy city too.
It is.
But again, we've only been here 3 months.
Yeah.
And
Which
one of those months I wasn't even here.
exactly. And honestly, you saying that at the start of the podcast, I was like almost,
Yeah.
okay, only 3
okay,
months.
yeah.
That's fine. It's we're still figuring it out.
3 months into a new relationship, so you're still getting to know each other.
Yeah, that's right. Fucking.
Anything else?
That's everything.
That's
me.
everything.
Have you ever walked around naked?
Oh yeah, it's the best. It's so
But, like
liberating.
since I've been, I mean, you've had a couple of
I
nights
haven't
by
had-
yourself.
No, I haven't had anything.
In the Netherlands. You
Oh,
did.
in the Netherlands, yeah.
I'm about to leave to Amsterdam for 3 days, so I think that there will be some nudity in here. Here and in the Netherlands. Nudity for days. Free the tips.
And on that note, we're going to wrap it up.
Good chat.
Good chat.